sitting there with a big goal. Like I have a huge goal, I want to accomplish it, but maybe I'm too old or it's not the right time or it's not going to work for me. In this juicy episode, you are going to find out exactly how to set a goal and make it yours and obtain it. My name is Leslie Urbis. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer. And as you guys know, I am a selfless overachiever in recovery, really wholly embracing herself. And on this live guest appearance, we typically love to break through lies that we've been told that age matters when setting a goal on this one. And today I would like to introduce to you Suhaiba and have her talk a little bit about herself. So welcome to the show. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you for having me. I'm an overachiever as well, so in good company. So my name is Suhaiba Neal. I am currently 47 years old. Getting closer to the 48th birthday, but not quite there yet. And yeah, so I was 42 when I launched my first business on my own after didn't fully leave my day job, but 20 years in, one place, actually managing our family business. And at 42, decided that, you know what, I have more to offer, so I'm going to go out and do my own thing as well. So there's definitely no age limit on anything, and no time frame. So it was the year of the pandemic. It was not the ideal year to do anything, probably, with everything else that was going on. But as I said earlier, we were chatting before, I'm one of those really determined people. So once I had everything lined up in place, there's always an excuse to say, no, now is not a good time. But there's really never going to be a good time or a right time. It's just the time to get started.
Totally. I mean, I completely agree with you, but I think many people have set goals, right? As I was listening to a Bob Proctor video, and he said 97% of people set goals but never actually achieve them. There's only 3% of people that actually follow through and achieve what they're going for. To somebody who's maybe sitting there like, okay, well, I'm in my 40s, maybe I'm in my late 30s, maybe in my 50s, 60s, 70s, and they have this goal. What are some of the things that you kind of like, you talked about being a determined person, but in the beginning, when you kind of set out for it, what was the mentality? What were things that you kind of used to approach what you were doing?
So I am a big fan of writing everything down because I feel like that makes it real and more concrete. And I literally mean write, like get a pen and a pad of paper, not a computer. As you can see from behind me, I'm an avid reader and a writer myself. So I'm like, there's power in that pen for me at least. And also what I've discovered more recently as I've kind of helped other people and got into another women's group where we went through this whole exercise on conquering your fear. A lot of not going after a goal is like letting your fear override the dream. But the other thing I've learned is we all have some little goal or some little dream within us that may not make sense to the world, but it doesn't matter. And so don't tell the whole world at the beginning what your dream and what your goal is because they may not understand it. But if it's in there, it's for a reason. So in addition to launching my business, I've been writing for years. I actually studied writing for children and I finished my first book. I guess I finished it in 2022 and published it in 2023. And it was kind of a diversion from everything else that I've been doing. And until it was out in the world, I had no idea how much it was really needed out in the world. So I wrote a book on leadership for women based on my life experience. And now, as it's getting spread through locally and a little bbit more nationally, everyone our age that I talk to says, I wish I had this when I was 20 and in college, or I wish I had this when I was, 25, 30 and starting to be in a leadership role in, my industry. So you don't always know the potential impact that little idea or that little dream could have. And so not letting the fear keep you from pursuing it and exploring it and seeing, where it could potentially lead.
Totally. I think fear is always the thing, right? And fear is really just in our own mind. I love to think of fear as the ego mind instead of, the God, spirit mind, universal mind. And I think that's so helpful to do. So definitely awesome that you have that. So if I were, let's say I'm contemplating it, is there like one big thing that you would give me a piece of advice for in the beginning that would just be like, this is what I would say to you when you have this goal?
So what is it? And then what's the why behind it? So the other thing is it's going to take work. It's going to take longer than you think. You're going to hit roadblocks most likely along the way, or you're going to start down a path and it's, you know, you're going to hit a dead end and you're going to have to turn around and kind of go back and regroup. So knowing the why behind it to help you stay the course is helpful. And then I think most people find goals overwhelming. So what I always do is like, where's the best place to start? Like right now, today, what's something small that I can do that's going to get me started and then make some progress? And I'm a big fan of like, you got this big goal, but let's reverse engineer it and make it smaller steps that are more manageable. So we're not thinking about a year from now. We're thinking about what can I do this week to kind of make some progress and get moving. And that's where the consistency part comes in. So if you're making small steps on a weekly basis, before you know it, you know, you're 6 weeks in, 8 weeks in, 10 weeks in, and you're like, oh wow, I really have something now. So it's kind of that snowball effect where you're not gonna, what do they tease you? How to eat an elephant one bite at a time. So you really do have to break it down and take it slow and be okay with it taking some time, you know, and adjusting. It's interesting for me. I didn't pick it, it picked me. My word this year is flexibility and learning how to be more open to what comes and, you know, quote unquote blocks and the redirects to get back to where you were headed. So just being open to that process and having the commitment to just do a little bit every week. And what's the best place to start right now? What's the best thing I can work on next week? And then little by little, you make progress that way.
Awesome. I love it. I think that's absolutely fabulous. And I agree. Whether it's a can't chew an elephant, you know, at a hole. I like to say you technically, you know, even if you laid down to put both of your pants legs in at one time, you still got to shift your body a little to pull them all the way up, right? It's not just like a straight up, you know, sometimes, but all of the different things. I think that's really a good piece for people to hear, you know. I think sometimes the why is overused, like what's your why? And people are like, ah, forget this, I don't know, you know. But I think that what you're really saying is that it's truthfully like more of the heart and you know, giving yourself those pieces to allow yourself to know, I can accomplish what I said I would by now. So that gives me the effort to keep going. You know, people think, well, I don't have hundreds of followers today, or I don't have millions of dollars in the bank today, or I'm not anywhere further. When really it's just these tiny little things that if we could focus on that and continue to use that, fuel that, and really visualize our life to be different, we would continue to get a different result. So I love that. And I know we were talking before, and you said you have an awesome freebie. I'd love to hear about a way that they can connect with you and where they can find some information on how to set big goals themselves.
Yeah, so I have a workbook on my website that you can hop on and download. So it's thefullcirclebusiness.net and then /leap. So I actually did this webinar originally last year, which was a leap year. So I said, get rid of your fear. It's time to take the leap. So it's /leap. That'll give you an opportunity to download a workbook. I think it's about 5 pages that will, and again, it's on paper. I want you to print it out and sit down somewhere quiet and really think through and write everything down. And it gives you a little bit more details onto how to figure out what the goal is, figure out your why, and then figure out those steps. And again, like you said at the very beginning, don't share it with the whole world right away. Pick one or
Amen.
two people that you trust, that you are okay with holding you accountable, because that's the other thing is the accountability piece. I tease that we always have the best of intentions, but we're human. And like if there's not someone else on the other end that knows you're working on something, to kind of check in with you every once in a while. So it's good to have one or two accountability partners. But what I read the other day, you're supposed to live life like you play a game of chess in silence until you win and you call checkmate. So kind of do the work quietly and a little bit behind the scenes. And then when you get to the end, make sure you share it with the world because you have no idea how many people could possibly need what you have inside of you that you've kind of been holding on to for a while.
I love that. And I needed to hear that today. So thank you. I appreciate you for being a guest. And for everybody who's watching, the link will be right below this video. As you all know, please connect, do the work, and you know, follow your dream for sure. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I thank you so much for being a guest today. You're just lovely. And I know for sure this will wind up in the right people's hands to get you to where you need to go. So awesome. Have a fit and fabulous day, everyone. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.